I'm Karen Harch.
And I'm Nolan Johannes. Tonight in the news.
I'm Bob Costantini in Center County, where they say it was worse than 72.
If there's a fire on this street, you can't depend on this hydrant to help put it out. I'm Mark Davis. I'll tell you why.
All aboard. I'm Craig Stevens in Harrisburg for part one of a 5-part series on a special train trip.
Those stories plus Tom's forecast and Tim Karlson in for Joe Zone on Sports.
It's all next on Newswatch 16.
In your car, listen to Newswatch 16 on WKRZ AM 1340.
Proud to serve Northeastern and Central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, pilot Jack Rulin in Skycam 16, Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark, and Joe Zone on sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening. It happened in a matter of minutes.
Flash flooding in parts of Clinton and Center counties swelled creeks in that part of central Pennsylvania. A couple people were hurt and 25 homes damaged. Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini says the people were caught off guard.
Marsh Creek in Center County came through here this morning. Heavy rains hit the creek over its banks with tremendous force, even washing out parts of this road. Along the way, friends and family looked through what's left of Jim Darwah's backyard after his storage shed and car were swept away. But it was more than losing a few possessions. It was frightening.
They started coming in the door, and then I kicked out the window in the back of the house and got the kids up on the roof, my wife and my sister-in-law, and we sat up there and waited.
The state police helicopter, which evacuated some people in this area, never got to the Darwahs. They stayed on the roof for 2 hours. As we go on along the creek,
the old schoolhouse is still standing. Gotta give that credit.
Oh, yes.
But dairymen watch helplessly as their cows try to cross the still raging stream where a bridge for them once stood. One gets caught in debris, and farmers try to save her. But in the end, she can't keep her head above water. Marsh Creek has flooded before, but people here say this is the worst.
We could get stuff out in 72. We couldn't get anything in the basin at this time.
I didn't know nothing about it. I got awake this morning and went to go to work. Water everywhere. I couldn't even get the car out.
The creek came over its banks within a few minutes, and the people here tell us it only took a few minutes before the creek started to recede. But as you can see, for the short time that it was over the banks, the damage here is overwhelming. Bob Costantini, Newswatch 16, Liberty Township, Center County.
You would have thought it was a flood in parts of Scranton today as the heavy rains came down. This is Music Street, running down from Harrison Avenue toward downtown Scranton. The steep hill sent the rain runoff gushing downhill. It was an especially heavy shower during the late morning hours here. Tom Clark will be telling us how much officially fell today during his weather from the backyard in just a few moments.
We'll show you a problem that firefighters are facing on one street in Wilkes-Barre. Stay tuned as Newswatch 16 continues.
Britain's high society isn't used to this kind of treatment.
Them Germans ready to gain, George. Advance. Look out! Look what they've done!
We came to England for the express purpose of robbing you.
Telly Savalas stars in Crooks and Coronets. Tomorrow's $16,000 movie at 4, only on WNEP TV 16.
In Wilkes-Barre, some other people are looking into why a fire hydrant in the Heights section couldn't work properly this weekend. Newswatch 16's Mark Davis reports the problem came up while fighting a fire on Fulton Street this Sunday.
After fighting a fire here on Fulton Street Sunday morning without the help of this hydrant, now it's time to test the hydrant to see exactly how bad the problem is. First, firemen tested the pressure. It's so low, the gauge didn't even register a reading. Then to show how poor the pressure and flow are, firemen hooked up a hose, and that told them a few things.
What it tells me is there's really not that much water in this hydrant. There's probably less than 200 gallons a minute, which I feel as though isn't enough water needed for any of these house fires here.
That means hooking up to other nearby hydrants. Now, after hearing that and watching the firemen test the hydrant, President John Wassell had this message for Pennsylvania Gas and Water Company.
Do something about it, get more pressure, change that fire plug. Something should be done. You know yourself, if fire starts here, they'll never put it out.
That complaint and others like it may get some action. PG&W also tested the hydrant and found a flow problem in the 1898 water line which feeds it, and that's prompting some talk.
We are looking at the possibility of seeing if there's any merit in replacing the hydrant itself, not the line, but the hydrant, to see if that might afford any different service up there.
Fire officials now tell me they're going to make a note of this hydrant as a bad hydrant, and the next time there's a fire here on Fulton Street, they're not going to depend on this for any water. Mark Davis, Newswatch 16, Wilkes-Barre.
And our chief meteorologist, Tom Clark, is coming up next with his forecast.
And we did have a lot of rain overnight. We saw some flooding. Any more on the way, Tom?
There is a little bit more, but how would you like to have a nice, dry, sunny day?
Sure.
I'll be right back.
On our way.
The auxiliary of Nesbitt Memorial Hospital, Kingston, will hold their annual June festival. Treat the entire family to a full day of games and homemade foods and fine entertainment. Enjoy the sounds of the Iron Temple String Band. Sample our chicken and spaghetti dinners. Take aim at WNEP's Tom Clark in the Celebrity Splash. Start your summertime fun at the June Festival, Wednesday, June the 20th, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the hospital grounds.
Well, it's easy to see what Karen was doing last week on her vacation. Let's find out if we have any more sun coming up.
Where did it go?
Yeah, where did it go, Tom?
Well, Karen, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you, Tom.
What a week you had.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
What a tan. Gee whiz. Well, you couldn't get a tan today. It's very gray and cloudy still in this backyard. I've measured 0.6 of an inch. But out there in central Pennsylvania, Juniata County, Center County, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rain has fallen. And that's about 162,000 gallons of water per acre. No wonder there's been flooding. Outside now we have a very muggy condition with a temperature of 71 degrees. Look at that humidity, 90%. The wind south at 9, barometer falling. Air quality today, moderate or fair in both Wilkes-Barre and Scranton. The high today, well, so far is 71 degrees. It may get a little bit higher than that between now and midnight. The low last night, 62. Normals, you can see there, 79 and 58. Look at 42, the record low, that's something, back on this date in 1958. A shot there of Mountain Lake on East Mountain outside of Scranton. Shot taken this afternoon. Now, here's the radar scan live. Just a few light showers west of Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, but I don't see any heavy thunderstorms in the immediate area at this very moment. Mainly dry. The thunderstorms are out in the northwestern part of the state now. As we go to the Newswatch 16 color satellite picture, there's the heavy thunderstorms over the western part of Pennsylvania now, and there's a severe thunderstorm watch out for the northwestern counties. Erie County has seen some damage from thunderstorm winds in the past couple of hours, but it's all because of a warm front that's moving very, very slowly across the state. It almost stalled last night, and showers develop and dissipate along the front, and then they redevelop again and dissipate and redevelop, and so you have those flooding rains that just continue. But this line is now moving through the area, and then this line here, this cool front, will come through tomorrow. And look behind it. Look at this air up here. Just some scattered clouds, comfortable temperatures and humidities, and that air will be over us Wednesday. Now, the pH scale on the acid rain, anything less than 5.6 is considered acidic, and measurements came in last night from Wilkes College. Last night's rainfall, 4.1 on the scale. Last week, 3.3. And these numbers come in from the Northeastern Pennsylvania Environmental Council. So the acid rain, some of it pretty low last week, but all rain is acidic to some degree. Now for tonight, tropical. Humidity, very high. Maybe a couple of thunderstorms around, a few downpours, but I don't expect any flooding here. Dense fog in the Poconos. Temperatures holding about where they are now. Now, tomorrow, a shower is possible anytime up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then that front will be through. Temperatures tomorrow in the low to middle 80s. for highs. And in the Health Watch tomorrow, resistance to aches and pains gets a little bit better as the humidity drops off late in the day. Sunrise and sunset coming up, 5:30. And the sunset now is at 8:39. Humid tonight, maybe a thunder shower. Chance of a shower or thunder shower again tomorrow. Wednesday, beautiful. Thursday and Friday, not too bad. Company picnic on Wednesday, or tomorrow that is.
Tomorrow.
Right? Maybe
Hold the shower.
Shouldn't be too bad.
Right. What's a little shower?
Can't hurt.
Adds to the fun.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Newswatch 16 continues with Tim Karlson in for Joe Zone and all the sports.
Tonight, Tim will tell us about the winner in the U.S. Open.
WNEP and Pepsi present the Michael Jackson Sweepstakes. A single postcard could have you and a friend at the concert event of the year, Michael Jackson and the Jacksons. All entries are eligible for spectacular daily prizes, plus the grand prize drawing of tickets to see Michael Jackson live in concert. For more details, tune in Dialing for Dollars weekdays at 4.
Well, the rain postponed it for a little while, but it's over.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a guy that's real happy that it didn't get postponed another day because he's got $94,000 in his pocket. Can you imagine that? No, it's not Joe Zone, folks. When it came down to pressure golf time, Fuzzy was there, wasn't he? All right, the 18-hole playoff for the championship of the U.S. Open golf tourney this afternoon, and it was not even close, as you saw here on 16. Fuzzy Zoeller won it big over Greg Norman. They were tied after regulation yesterday, but that was that. Zoeller with tremendous putting. How about this 68-footer? No, that's not slow motion, folks. That was for a birdie on number 2, and that put him up by 3 strokes. Greg Norman did not have as good a luck at all on that number 2 hole. He double bogeyed it. He missed this putt and then missed coming back, so Fuzzy was rolling. By number 14, he was up by 5. Another long birdie putt. Norman bogeyed the same hole, and Zoeller is up by 7 strokes. Here's a fine birdie putt, though, one of the few on 17 by Norman today, who finished with a 75. But here comes that great walk up the 18th fairway for Mr. Zoeller. And returning the favor of the white flag yesterday, there's Norman there. He knows it's all over. The final shot for a 67, and the title, Fuzzy Zoeller wins $94,000 for the U.S. Open title, his second major golf title. He won the Masters in '79. Well, it turned out to be a sad weekend for fans and family of horse racing as a champion left us. That and more in the Weekend Wrap. The winner of the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Stakes, Swale, died suddenly Sunday morning at the track where he had won convincingly a week earlier. The 3-year-old collapsed after a morning workout at Belmont Park. Because of his death, still undetermined. It was good pitching and Dr. Longball giving the Phillies a 4-game sweep of the Cubs at Wrigley in Chicago and moving them into first in the NL East. And the Cardinals helped the Phils' cause for the top spot, winning 2 of 3 from the visiting Mets. And another New York team, the Yankees, continued to struggle, losing 2 of 3 to the Orioles. Sunday's loss hurt the most as Gary Renicky, hitting 194, nailed an 8th-inning grand slam for the Birds' win. John McEnroe stormed it up and warmed it up for Wimbledon with a win over Leif Sherriss in the Queen's Club grass tourney. Max Mouth coming to life again in the final. And at the Michigan 400 stock car race, the checkered flag went to Bill Elliott, beating out Dale Earnhardt for the ride to victory lane. New York Giant football fans, your team has a new quarterback. I know that sounds familiar, but the guy wearing number 15 here may be the guy they've been looking for. He's former Penn State quarterback and West Virginia standout Jeff Hostetler, and today he signed a 3-year, $1 million contract with the Giants. Jeff was the Giants' 3rd-round choice in the NFL draft. He'd been talking terms with Arizona of the USFL before signing with the Giants of the NFL. Look for Reds pitcher Mario Soto to be fined and suspended for a 2nd time in just a few weeks by NL President Chub Feeney. Last time for the brawl with the Cubs, of course, he was suspended. This time for a punch-out with Claudell Washington of Atlanta. That happened Saturday night after Washington hit his 4th homer off Soto this year in the 1st inning. Next time up, knockdown pitch, couple of them as a matter of fact. Punches thrown. Soto threw a pitch or threw a ball right at all kinds of people. It was a big mess. That guy should be gone for a year. That's ridiculous, and it's a shame because he's a great baseball pitcher. Speaking of baseball, tonight at 8 on 16 and ABC, the Yanks and Tigers at Detroit. The only time you're going to hear me rooting for the Bombers, I'll tell you that right now. John McEnroe and Martina Navratilova, the top seeds for Wimbledon next week. the more things stay the same in that sport, I'll tell you. We'll see you after the game tonight.
All right.
And Sweet Lou Pinella won't be there.
No, he's gone. Well, he's still in uniform with the Yanks as a batting instructor, but I'll tell you, after that performance on Saturday, I kind of felt bad for him because...
What, 0 for 5?
Yeah, he was 0 for 5, but he did get the game-winning RBI.
Yeah.
So,
that was something. Well, they gave him a
Hit
great
into a
send-off.
double play last
It was
time.
great. Yeah, right. See you later.
Okay,
Thank you, Tim. See you on the update.
Have you ever been on a train ride?
Well, if you're Karen's age, the answer is no. If you're my age, the answer is yes. Stick with us. We will break away from the ordinary when we begin a 5-part series next.
It's called All Aboard the Susquehannock, and that's next as Newswatch 16 continues. Sights to delight on the Ocean City Boardwalk.
Monday at 7.
For many years, the rails and the trains that rolled along on them served industry and the people of northeast and central Pennsylvania. Now, tourists are returning to the rails for leisure time. And Newswatch 16's Craig Stevens was along when the conductor yelled, "All aboard the Susquehannock."
People get on trains every day here at the Amtrak station in Harrisburg, but the 350 people getting on this train, dubbed the Susquehannock, are embarking on a trip that will bring an era past back to life. I'm getting on board to be part of it. Once underway, we're bound for Williamsport, where we'll pick up nearly 1,000 more passengers and then head to Corning, New York. Inside, people from as far away as Virginia have paid $75 each for a ticket. They're here to have a good time, but the reason the trip was put together is to bring tourists and their wallets into Williamsport and Corning, New York. Now, it would be a lot quicker to drive there, but there are advantages to taking a train.
The main reason was to relax and let somebody else do the driving. That's the main reason. Of course, I've always liked to travel by rail, and my father was a railroader. And when I was a kid, we used to travel quite a bit by rail.
I figured it'd just be a nice trip as far as we could sit back and somebody else do driving for once, instead of me just doing driving, never get to look out the window or nothing like this. Lay back and relax a little bit.
Is this your first trip on a train?
Yes, it is.
What do you think of it?
I love it. I really do. It's relaxing, enjoyable.
I'll probably do it again.
Oh, I think it's much nicer than a bus. The seats are nicer than the buses are, and you don't go around as many curves.
This is my first time on a train, and the one thing I did notice is it does rock back and forth, just like the trains in the movies do. There aren't any movies to watch on the train, but there is entertainment, music to keep the passengers occupied, and even a mime to help pass the time. All of this to keep these tourists in a good mood and get them ready to spend money once they hit Williamsport. Many of the people riding the Susquehannock have never been on a train before, including myself, but they all seem to be having a good time. Tomorrow, you'll meet a family who's never been to Williamsport before and get their impressions on the town. Craig Stevens, Newswatch 16 on the Susquehannock on a railroad track in Lycoming County.
So that's what a train ride is like.
Yeah, that's
I'll have to
right.
try that out.
You've been missing it, let me tell you. No doubt about it.
Looks like
Craig's
fun.
having fun. And that is Newswatch 16 for this Monday.
Be sure to join us tonight on The Update when we'll tell you about what may be the garbage disposal of the future.
World News Tonight is next, and we'll be back after the baseball game. For the team, thanks for being with us.
Enjoy your evening.